to extend hearty welcome to His Excellency, the President of India, the Dean among the scientists of the world. Anna University, the citadel of engineering education, is witnessing this rarest event in its history. His Excellency, the President of India, has graciously consented to give a thought-provoking lecture on engineering education and nation development. I am sure that the ferment of fertile thought from his genius will inspire you all. The life of His Excellency, the President of India, is an open book for anyone and everyone to read and to follow. My mentor, Honorable Chief Minister Dr. Puruchi Thalaivi, is steadfastly and relentlessly working to surge Tamil Nadu to #1 position in India. To fulfill the dream of our great leader, you have to contribute your efforts by rolling out bright engineers from this prestigious university who will bring laurels to the stage. Once again, I welcome this distinguished great son of the soil, His Excellency the President of India, on your behalf. Thank you.
His Excellency the President of India, Honorable Minister for Education, and my dear friends. When I met our President about 2 weeks back, he expressed desire to talk to all the faculty members of all the engineering colleges. I told him we cannot accommodate all of them, we do not have facilities for that. Then we decided to select 2 or 3 from each engineering college and some from Anna University colleges and some invitees. Then came the problem of what topic he should talk. Being a President of India, he can talk on any topic and he is free to choose a topic. But then to my surprise, he selected topic, the engineering education and the nation development and nation building. That is very near to his heart because he has written a book on the India developed country by 2020, and this will aptly a suitable topic for all of us. After to make a country developed, the most important thing is the technical education or the engineering education. That is the backbone of any development of any country. And for technical education, backbone are the teachers. After the teachers are the important factor for making education and contributing to the development of the country. And so when we suggested, and we are very happy to agree upon the topic, and he has decided to give a 30 minutes. And he says it's an example topic, that's why we have no OHP or LCD projector. He is very fond of using all that, but today he is going to talk on without aid of any modern technology. And I hope you will enjoy and we will get inspiration from him, and so that we will follow whatever he says today. With these words, I will, on behalf of all of you, I would like to extend a warm welcome to our beloved President. And with these words, I conclude. Thank you.
திரு செம்மலை அவர்கள், டாக்டர் இ பாலகுருசாமி அவர்கள், எல்லோருக்கும் என்னுடைய வணக்கம். நான் இந்த இடத்த செலக்ட் பண்ணேன், இங்கே போகிறதான்னு. நான் அண்ணா யூனிவர்சிட்டியில் ரொம்ப நாளாக இங்கே இருந்திருக்கேன், 1 வருஷத்துக்கு மேலே இருந்தேன். இங்கே எப்போ பார்த்தாலும் இங்கே தான் பேசுவேன், அதனால் இதை செலக்ட் பண்ணிட்டேன். இப்போ நான் வந்த உடனே உங்களையெல்லாம் பார்த்தேன், அப்படி பார்த்தேன். அப்படி பார்க்கும்போது ஒருத்தர் ஸ்மைல் பண்ணாமல் உட்காந்துருந்தாங்க. ஏன் ஸ்மைல் பண்ணலை அப்படின்ற ஒரு எண்ணம். அப்போ நான் நினச்சேன், லஞ்ச் டைம் ஆயிடுச்சு, இவர் ஏதோ பேச போகிறாரு, எப்படி டாலரேட் பண்ணுறது அப்படின்ற ஒரு இதில் இருக்கீங்க. அப்போது உங்களை ஸ்மைல் பண்ண வைக்கணும். அப்போது ஒரு திட்டம் வச்சுருக்கேன் நான் அந்த ஸ்மைல் பண்ணுறதுக்கு. இங்கே வர்றதுக்கு முன்னால் நான் ராமகிருஷ்ணா மிஷன் ஹோமுக்கு போயிருந்தேன். ஆர்ஃபன்ஸ், அங்கே 300 ஆர்ஃபன்ஸ் இருக்காங்க. அங்கே அவங்களுடைய ஹோமுக்கு போயிருந்தேன், 300 பேர். அப்போது அவங்களோட ஒரு மணி நேரம் பேசிக்கிட்டு இருந்தேன், ஒரு 40 மினிட்ஸ் பேசிக்கிட்டு இருந்தேன். அப்போது ஒரு பையன் எல்லாம் முடிஞ்ச உடனே என் பக்கத்தில் ஓடியானான். அவன் பேர் ஹரிஹரன் பேர். சார் நான் உங்களுக்கு கதை சொல்கிறேன் அப்படின்னா, அதாவது நவ் ஐ ஸ்விட்ச் ஓவர் டு இங்கிலீஷ். ஸோ திஸ் ஹரிஹரன் பாய் இஸ் a 10th class he is studying, Ramakrishna Mission home, orphans home. So after answered a lot of questions, these boys, young boys, they ask questions. That's why I call all the young people as scientists. So these people ask questions. After answering, this boy is not satisfied. Sir, I want to tell you to a story, he told me. Then I pulled that boy and sat by nearby a chair. You tell me the story. This story you would have heard. But the story, he said, the God, created all the human beings. He created all the human beings millions and millions of years back. Then he wanted to visit the planet to find how his creations are doing. He wanted to see how his all of you can hear me? Okay? So he wanted to see how his creation, 6 billion people are doing in this planet. So he had 2 consultants. One consultant is angel, angel. One consultant is angel. Another consultant is Buddha. Buddha means what? Buddha means ghost. So 2 consultants he brought with him to the planet Earth. A angel and a ghost. So he was disappointed. God got disappointed about this planet position. What he created in his image, he created the man in his man and woman in his image. But when he came back after a few million years, he was surprised that something happened to this planet. He was not happy. Then he asked the angel, can you do something about it? Can you do something about it so that to change this planet prosperous, peaceful, happy and secured? Angel said, sorry, it is too bad. By Almighty, it's too bad, I cannot change now. Please give me some time. I need at least 1 million years to look at how to change this planet to original level, what you dreamt. So God, this angel fellow, he says like that. So he was disappointed. Then he called Buddha, that ghost fellow. He said, can you do something to this planet? The ghost fellow said, yes, I can do immediately, no problem. But, so tell me what I should do. First, and what you guys do, count the stars, how many stars are there in the galaxy. Then he went and counted all the galaxy stars. He gave a number to the Almighty. This is the number of stars we have in the galaxies. God was very happy. Okay? So this fellow had done his job. Then he wanted to give another difficult job so that he can give the task rectifying the planet Earth to the right direction. So his second question he gave him, you go and count all the sands of the planet Earth. So this fellow went there and a few days he spent. He gave so many sands are there in the planet Earth. God was very happy. Now he felt how to test him whether he can do the Earth mission. Then he told him, you go to India, and you count the political parties, how many are there? Political parties, how many are there? So Buddha, that is the ghost, went there till he had not returned so far. This boy gave me the story. This boy, Hariharan, gave me the story. It's a very fresh story. Even though you heard, I thought I must tell you this story. So that you will be all right to hear my lecture. My lecture, I have selected for you engineering education and challenges for national development. Because after all, technology builds the nation. And you are, I know who you are. You are from many institutions of Anna University, engineering colleges. With a happy heart and sad heart, you all have come here. And I am sure I will give you a happy heart finally when you are returning. Now, I ask myself, what is the purpose of a university education? A college, a student comes at the age of 20. He comes to you. What is the type of, what will you give him? What you will give him? So, my view is like this. You take a child. All of you have children. Child. As soon as child is born, always child cries. Isn't it? Cries, he says, you give me, you give me. When it grows also, child says, you give me. Isn't it? You hear, you give me, you give me. Child will say, you give me. I hope you realize that one. Child always cries and demands, you give me. So, when the child grows, at the age, say, he becomes a teenage child, tells father, mother, you don't interfere with me. I will do myself everything. Teenager, when the child grows to the teenager, I can do everything. And now after the teenager, next comes a young fellow, young man and young woman. They have crossed beyond 20. These 20 years, 25 years people, they started saying, no, let us work together. Some of them say, let us work together. Child says, you give me. The teenager says, you don't interfere with, I will do it. And this fellow, young fellows started saying, let us do it together. There is another category. When they graduate from the child, from the teen, from the young, to adult, grown up, a leader. The leader's quality, what should be is, what I can give you, what I can give you. That means child said, you give me. The leader says, what I can give you. Can you understand this? I hope you understood. That means when the boy or girl comes to you in engineering colleges, apart from teaching a beautiful trigonometry, beautiful algebra, beautiful biotechnology, beautiful history, beautiful commerce and beautiful area, you have a responsibility as a teacher, as a vice chancellor, to transfer the young man or young woman from his nature, you give me, to what I can give you. What I can give you. That's a leadership. The day our children, grown up young man and woman, started saying, what I can give you, that means they have come from the fantastic universities, fantastic engineering colleges they have come from. That what I can give you, that is the mission. That's the real mission of engineering colleges and the universities, to transform the childish nature, you give me, to the leader's quality, what I can give you. Understood? So this is the top one mission for all our engineering institutions, wherever they are. So other problems you all forget. Whichever environment I am living in the engineering college, whichever the network I live it, can I making the child, the boy or girl going out of my institution, have I transformed them, apart from technology, transform them, what I can give you. So this is the first message I want to communicate to you. Next is very interesting. Next is, recently I started a mission. Children I met, 200,000 children I have met. Then I thought I must meet teachers. Now teachers meeting alone will not be sufficient, I will meet the vice chancellors. So I tried. First one, I travelled from one part of Bihar to Patna for about 1 hour travel with 10 vice chancellors of Bihar. That was a revelation to me. That was really, I felt that is something, there is a total integrated education system of vice chancellor and professors that represent integrated education system. That is there are some problems are there, I realized. Then what I thought, I have got a herbal garden in Rashtrapati Bhavan. 27 herbs, my team is growing there. There, when they were grown, Brahmi and various type of the herbs are grown there, and then I invited at the harvest time Vice Chancellors of Haryana, Vice Chancellor of Punjab, and Vice Chancellor of Uttar Pradesh, Uttaranchal, and Dr. Mashelkar was with me. He was supporting the whole herbal garden. When we harvested and for various herbs, and then it was extracted also. You know, one hectare, if you cultivate certain type of herbal plants, what happens after 4 months' time? You will spend 30,000 rupees, but it will give you 90,000 rupees finally income as 50 to 60,000. So this we want to tell the farmers through the vice chancellors. So when I interacting with the vice chancellor, again I found that these people, the vice chancellors, the type of communication between the students and the farmers, you know, wherever it was an intensive system of work, the farmers started believing the science and technology, where the interaction between the farmers and the institution, agriculture institution, is not intensive, then there was a problem. So I felt the farms should come and agriculture universities, and whatever science they find out on the seeds and all those things, they should actually farmers should cultivate and see the yield pattern. This is one of the second message I got out of Vice Chancellor meet. Third thing, recently I went to Andhra Pradesh and Hyderabad. There I said, let me meet all the Vice Chancellors of Andhra Pradesh University. I met them and there something happened, some issues we discussed. I thought of sharing with you. When I went there, I exchanged with them. Number of vice chancellors were there with their professors, and I asked two questions. Please note these two questions. So I will ask you after some time some questions on that. Two questions, I asked. Two questions was the influence of teachers on students to make them enlightened citizens. The focus of the discussion was, I asked the Vice Chancellor, tell me, you have teachers, what are the influence of teachers on students to make them enlightened citizens? You have to define what is the enlightened citizen. Enlightened citizen means he is equipped with technology and equipped with the moral values also. It's a combination. Then you get the enlightened citizens. So this first question. The second question was contribution of universities. He is representing university, like Balaguru Swami representing a huge university. Contribution of universities and college towards nation's development. Simple question I asked. And then I found a lot of problems. The interaction, we had difficulties. And I don't have time to describe what all that happened. But something happened, I thought to share with you. The day I spoke, next day there was a press information which said Kalam asked two questions, there was a lot of problems. Something like that they focused. But what happened, next day there is one professor from Texas A&M University. His name is Dr. Robert Slater. He was in the town. He was in the Hyderabad. He opened that newspaper. And the newspaper says like this, Kalam said something. So he had a curiosity. He's a scholar in education and teaching. So he went into these two questions. Deeply he went into the two questions. He made an email, he sent me 10-page email. He analyzed the whole two things. I will send you the email to you if you give your email, or you come to my website, I will put in my website, you can get what Dr. Slater has sent me. But he because he analyzes, based on my two questions, he posed some of the points. The points are, what kind of human beings do want to make ourselves? He asked himself, what type of human beings do want to make the ourselves? That is, after all, students finally, he has to be something. Then what capacities do we want to give to our children? I mean students, what capacity, that is when we are engineering college, when we are the university, what capacities do we want to give to our children? This is the second point he raised. Third point, he said, what kind of educational system will it take our students to acquire or develop the capacities we think they must have? This is another point he asked. It's a research, it's all research indicative. Next point was, what kind of leadership is necessary to design, sustain and protect this institution? This is the points he lined up. Then he analyzed, I don't want to give you all the pages. Dr. Slater tries to suggest that the student should have the following capacities. That is very important for you, because you should know when they come to you, as I told you that leadership quality, when they come to you, you should ask yourself, what is the capacity students should have, what I should do in the engineering colleges? First and foremost, capacity in research and inquiry. Research will come only if you question research and inquiry. Second thing is capacity for creativity and innovation. That means when the student goes out of your institution, he should have a capacity for creativity and innovation. And capacity to use high technology, because technology doesn't wait for you, it grows. Whatever happens today, the technology goes on growing. Yesterday it was for information technology. Today it information communication technology. Yesterday there is microelectronics was there. Today microelectronics threatened by nanotechnology. When nanotechnology and ICT combined, a new science is emerging. So, and with that biotechnology is added, then you find a highly intelligent human being is possible, and the society highly intellectual and automated sometime. So this type of society will happen whether you like it or not. Capacity for entrepreneurial leadership. Capacity, that is, you have to teach. Your engineering colleges, when you are teaching, you don't teach them to take only government jobs. So that's not real teaching. Teaching gives an opportunities, capacity for entrepreneurial leadership, so that he gets the confidence like any other country, developed world. The student, when he goes out, he gets the confidence, I can start a business. I can join with few or three, I can start an entrepreneur. With venture capital we're getting, and he gets that capacity. Finally, creativity, moral leadership. You ask yourself. 245 engineering colleges, including Anna University, do you give capacity for moral leadership? If you give, you will send me an email, www.presidentofIndia.nic.in. If you don't, then you don't need to send me. Okay? Now, these 5 kinds of capabilities are most central for economic development and nation building. Economic development, nation building. If we develop in our children these 5 capacities, in our students, if we build these 5 capacities, we will produce a certain kind of a learner, what we call autonomous leader. He can be called autonomous leader. That is, vice chancellors, principals and professors' task is to, when the student comes, you are creating an autonomous learner, a self-directed, self-controlled, lifelong learner who has the capacity to both respect authority while at the same time is capable of questioning authority in an appropriate manner. This is Dr. Slater's point. And having created autonomous leaders, we will be well on the way to creating autonomous adults, the kind of adult that a democracy most wants and needs. So if you've got this message, I am a very lucky fellow. It is a very interesting to read this thought, what so far I have told. interesting to read the thought-provoking analysis from Professor of Education and Human Development. He is a Professor of Education and Human Development. I suggest each one of you think more about it with objective of creating enlightened citizen and practice to contribute towards national development. Now, the what question I am asked, what Dr. Slater has answered, and then the analysis I am giving you just now, all are in my website. You go to my website, you will get the complete details of it. Now the next point, I thought I should talk to you, role model. Role model, what is a role model? Role model is the embodiment of what I told you, the 5 capacities. That is, the student wants a teacher can give capacity for research and inquiry, capacity for creativity, innovation, capacity to use high technology, capacity for entrepreneurial leadership, capacity for moral leadership. If the five you give, you become the role model. The teacher becomes the role model. Vice Chancellor becomes the role model. Professor becomes a role model. Now you can ask me, can you show me a role model? You can ask a question suddenly. Kalam, you spoke so much. What is role model? Can you give me an example? Now, fortunately, I am blessed with to have in my life influence more than a decade a role model. So I am going to talk about him, the role model, who can give you all these 5. He gave us all these five areas of creativity. This role model was Professor Satish Dhawan. He was my role model. I will never forget. He's a guru. I will call him guru rather than role model. And he influenced me in 1974, he gave me a project. Some of you have heard, some of you read my books, but some of you may not know, so I thought of repeating it for a role model specification. He was at that time chairman, Indian Space Research Organization. And he called me. It represented few thousand engineers, few thousand staff people, but 20,000 people. He called me in 1973. He said, Mr. Kalam, I am giving you a project. This is the money, this is the time schedule. I am going to support you. The whole Indian Space Research Organization will work for you. Your job to make a rocket system, a 4-stage rocket system, put the satellite in the orbit, near Earth orbit, in 7 years' time. He gave it 1973. And he told me, this is the job, I will support you. Your project definition he has given, money he has given, schedule he has given, support he has given. Now you succeed with your mission he gave. So I was astonished how he selected me, but he has selected me, I have to do the job. Boss says you do that. So I went on doing, lot of people, many of are here. The people who worked here, many of the people are sitting here, like Dr. Sivadana Pillai, and many people, and Swaminathan, they are all sitting, they are all partners with me. 1973 we started the work. And day and night we worked, because first time we are building a rocket system, put a satellite in the orbit, Rohini satellite in the orbit. And 1979 came in, everything was ready at Tumba, Vikram Sarabhai Space Center. We moved the total system to Sriharikota. Now it's called Professor Satish Dhawan Space Center. He is no more, and his name celebrated with Sriharikota Satish Dhawan Space Center, Professor Satish Dhawan Space Center. So we moved there. At that time, Shar Shelter it was called. And we went to the launch pad, hundreds of systems, 45 subsystems, all number of software packages. The whole launch is automated. T-minus 8 minutes, 8 seconds. 8 minutes. See that we went into launch mode, and T-minus 24 hours, the whole countdown started. It was 17th July 1979, and we went into the countdown. We came T-minus 1 hour countdown for launch. T-minus 30 minutes, T-minus 15 minutes, T-minus 10 minutes, T-minus 9 minutes, T-minus T minus 8 minutes, we put it on the computer because it has to check 600 parameters in the launch system, the rocket system, satellite, humanly impossible. They put the computer will launch if it will check over from T minus 8 minutes onwards, then computer will, if everything is okay, computer will launch or computer will put a hold. So exactly at T minus 8 minutes, it started, computer took over, he put a hold, don't launch, it said. Computer said, don't launch. So immediately I had experts behind me, 6 experts, top fellows who worked lifetime, what is happening, and they were the computers. I see in front of me what is happening. My display says don't launch because second stage in control system, this 4-stage rocket system, control system, there is some problems are there. Look at the problem. When you looked at the problem, experts say there was a leakage in the second stage control system and we cannot be launched. Computer faithfully reported don't launch. My experts and myself, we discussed. Within few seconds, we took a decision because we have got sufficient fuel and oxidizer, even though there is a leakage is there, 50% margin more, we will took a decision with the experts. I took a decision to launch it, override the computer. I took it manual and launched the rocket system. T0 rocket took off. So beautiful. At 100 seconds, everything was all right. Exactly when the first stage separated from the second stage, instead of rocket going steady and carrying the satellite, it went on spinning. Then I realized, my team realized, we lost the system. Within few seconds, the SLV-3, which has to put the satellite in the orbit, the whole thing went to Bay of Bengal. It was a failure. Now, how to manage the failure? How to manage the failure? This is the university, professors and engineering colleges, you should know how to manage the failure also. So immediately, it is, we were, when the failure occurs, your tiredness becomes too high. So after a few days, day and night work, you got this situation. So I went to my room. But there's a knocking. My professor Satish Dhawan comes there. He calls me, there's a press conference. 6:30 we launched, 7:15 there's a press conference. You come attend the press conference. I am going to do it, you come with me. So we all go to the press conference and I go there. There was a lot of people like you sitting there and full of questions. How you put 20 crores in the Bay of Bengal, one fellow said. So a lot of criticisms were there. And naturally, it's after all people money, you are spending the people revenue, such questions were there. And some questions also, what did you learn, some people asked. So finally, the press conference concluded with the Professor Satish Dhawan, the leader. He said, we have launched and we have failed, but we got a lot of information. I am going to give all the success to all the support to my people, and next time within a year we will succeed, he said. Now, did you see what happened? I am the mission director for the launch. I am the project director for the launch. The failure responsibility rests with me. But here is a leader, chairman, Space Commission. Here is the leader, Professor Satish Dhawan. He comes there, he takes the total leadership for the failure, he absorbs it and he goes off. And this is what I have experienced in my life, and this is what I have learned. Here is a leader, when you fail, and he takes all the problems with him and he keeps you going to work. That 1 year, next 1 year came and everything was ready. The SLV-3 was the launch pad. Satellites were checked, T-minus 8 minutes. The rocket took off. First stage gave the velocity, second stage gave the velocity, third stage gave the velocity, fourth stage gave the velocity. I realized immediately the satellite will go in the orbit. We put it successfully in the orbit. I announced the intercom to all the station, the SLV-3 E2 has successfully put the satellite in the orbit. There's an ovation, throughout the country. There's joy throughout the country. But what happened on that day? Again there was a press conference, exactly at 8 o'clock there was a press conference. Because the people from throughout the country abroad, they have come to know the press and media. And there, Professor Satish Dhawan told me, Kalam, you go and conduct the press conference. When I failed, he conducted the press conference. He took all the failure. When I succeeded, he gave to me the success to my team. This is real leadership. This is a real role model. Did you understand what I'm saying? If you understood this, if you understood this, your engineering colleges all will be successful. Reason is, how do you manage the failure in life, particularly the education institution? It's a high tension business. That guy you want to pass, not pass, you want to have a distinction to succeed in life. So everybody, the competitiveness, the environment of competitiveness, teaching and the competitiveness have to go work together. Here only I felt this role model. I thought I must talk to you, because this is a combination of what I was so far telling, and this one I can give an example in life. I have learned a lot. I have studied a lot of books. I have Harvard books, MIT books, and our own IIM books. None of them tell you how to manage the failure, the incident what I have narrated. So you have to create leaders. You have to create the leaders, sterling leaders. That chap, he has the boldness should be there, that a failure occurs, he takes it, professor takes it, the vice chancellor takes it, and protects his students. Then only you are the leader. Then only you are the successful institution. So friends, now with this, I come to real life. You have Anna University, you have so many institutions, and so many engineering colleges that throughout the country, so many engineering colleges are there. But my suggestion to you, please read my website, you read about the enlightened citizens. And also you try to see whether, after all, you are one of the engineering colleges. Do you want to be one of the engineering colleges? Anna University, you must have a brand. A brand you must have. Is Anna, whether you first college or 245th college or 300th college in Anna University should have a brand. That brand, how do you make a brand? Brand comes by, suppose there's a teacher somewhere in Tanjore or somewhere Tiruvannamalai, a teacher, good teacher, engineering college of teaching. That teacher engineering colleges should be reverberated in all the 300 engineering colleges of Anna University. That the teachers, the good teachers, he should be reverberated, and the students can see the teacher, and the teacher should gain the student. They can ask questions each other, discuss. You do that networking, then you are all connected. You are getting a brand. That is, you bet the best of every college, engineering college, is visible through this type of network. Then you must have incubators. What is incubators? According to me, every college is unique. Just like God said, I create all my human beings, but everybody is unique, he said. Everybody is unique. He has got one page in my history book, he said. Similarly, in Anna University, all of you may be members, partners, or integrators, but each one of you have got a unique characteristics. You must find out what is that unique characteristics. What is the unique quality in education? What is the what is the uniqueness of engineering? What is uniqueness for research results? So that uniqueness you must use it, convert into incubators, and then your industrial cooperation will come in. Say academy, among yourself you are working together, then you are working with others also. So friends, I suggest, dream for a brand name. Wherever people say we want Anna University student, don't get into which college, Anna University students. Then technology incubators. I have talked to you. With this, I would like to conclude. Now, you are all hungry. You must go for food. No? What I was thinking, when I was thinking, what thoughts I can share with you, a beautiful divine message was ringing in me. Will you repeat it when I say? You are all grown-ups. You don't mind that? Huh? Okay. Where there is righteousness in the heart, there is a beauty in the character. Many of you are not eaten, so you are not talking. Okay. Only few young people are shouting. When there is a beauty in the character, there is a harmony in the home. There is harmony in the home. When there is a beauty in the character, there is a harmony in the home. When there is harmony in the home, there is order in the nation. When there is order in the nation, there's a peace in the world. Who can give a beautiful connectivity like this between heart, character, nation and the world? This can come from only a divine personality who has transformed from religion to spiritualism by tapas. The purpose of real education is to initiate learning process that transforms children as a good human being with knowledge and value system. Would you, the Guru, have the righteous hearts, then it follows the order in the nation and the peace in the universe. My greetings and best wishes to all of you. So if you have some questions,
Your Excellency, what is your suggestion to reduce the rank of political parties?
That guy is going to come. We have gone there to find out.
From Saira Engineering College. I don't know, you remember me. I interviewed already. I brought you to my college. And last March 9th, you came to my college. And that time you gave a song of youth song. After reading that song, along with my colleagues and my students, we started developing a software, C language in Tamil we developed. Next March 8th, we released that software with the help of Mr. Balagurusamy sir, Vice Chancellor of Anna University. Actually, I was expecting you on that day, but I couldn't meet you. That's why we called sir and he released that software. So we developed this language. I'm working in Information Technology Department. We developed this software 1 year and we did it in Tamil. So the students they'll be able to write their program in Tamil. When you talked in Tamil, everybody clapped. When we are writing a program in Tamil, I don't know how our nation will go.
No.
And one more thing, actually the main ultimate aim of developing this software is it should reach the village student. Those are not able to write the program in English.
Okay. I understand your question. Yeah. I generally appreciate your idea that in regional language, our own language, actually software should be finally a language independent also. So I appreciate your work. Since you are doing such enthusiastic work, I am giving you one small task. The task is, you have seen internet search engine, no? Search engine. So you have seen the search. There are a number of search engines. All the search engines, you have to put the query in English. Okay? Now Anna University and the engineering college, they all join together. So they do the network. They should make, I put a question today. Today I posed a question. My nation should become in 20 years time develop 20 ஆண்டுகளில் இந்தியா வளர்ந்த நாடாக மாற வேண்டும் அப்படின்னு நான் வந்து போடுறேன், கம்ப்யூட்டரில் பிரிண்ட் பண்ணுறேன், தமிழில் பிரிண்ட் பண்ணும்போது தமிழில் எனக்கு ஆன்சர் வரணும். டேட்டா பேஸ் இருக்கு பாருங்கள், இங்கிலீஷ் டேட்டா பேஸ் தமிழில் வரணும். அது பெரிய ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டி, பெரிய டாஸ்க்கு. ஐ எம் ஷுர் த யூனிவர்சிட்டி அண்ட் இன்ஜினியரிங் காலேஜ் கேன் டேக் அப் திஸ். ஸோ நெக்ஸ்ட் கொஸ்டின்.
Please clarify whether the science leads the moral or the moral leads the science.
See, science leads moral, moral leads to science. In the question, fantastic question. Science is innocent, okay, in the whole affair. Okay, you got mixed up the religion, science. There's no problem with science to religion. There's no problem at all. I want to tell you that. Science, what does it do? It makes, it can make agriculture production high by doing the fertilizer. Okay, science does that. Science, using the proper science, fertilizer science, productivity for the grains. But the same fertilizer you can modify, use a chemical weapon. Chemical, man can do that. But that is, reason is quite different. What he should do at the moment, he must think in terms of how the religions, most of the religions are beautiful. They are all beautiful religions. I have entered into the religion. Whenever I entered the religion, I said, beauty, I see that. But they're all islands. We have to put the bridge of love. So religions had been translated as spiritual force. Science, nothing to do with that. Science, you can use it. So don't have any idea as though science is the villain in that. Science is not a villain. Villain is religion has to be transformed into a spiritual force. Next question. With the students. See, I have a feeling the country, one of the character, today we are, competitiveness. When you produce more food, when you produce more educational institutions, when you produce more software package, you have to market it. Okay? You have to market it. When you market it, you have to have the competitiveness. Competitiveness is very vital. Then only you can market. After all, developed India, you produce and at the same time distribute with your country. Surplus, you should be capable of marketing. That means you have to have a capability of competitiveness to compete in cost, to compete in the schedule, and to compete in the quality. That quality you must have. So if you call it competitiveness is differentiation, we have to accept differentiation we need. Integration of a society, I am for it, we have to do it. That's why I was advocating to my friend that is possible when the religions graduate into a spiritual force. Integration possible. In my own way, I have analyzed your integration and differentiation. Differentiation represents the competitiveness. Integration represents towards how we will transform our religions into a spiritual force. Okay, thank you. God bless you. You are all hungry and have a good food. Okay, good food waiting for me also. Thank you.
पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन जन मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे